What's up, Table Rock Fishing Intel Pro members? Eric Prey, Table Rock Fishing Intel, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you. It is Wednesday, May the 31st. Sorry we didn't get this done yesterday. I just had a couple of trips and just got behind and honestly didn't have time to get it done. But have been fishing pretty much every day. Spent most of the weekend over on Taneycomo, to be honest with you, to avoid the craziness that was on Table Rock, but it's pretty crazy on Taneycomo too. But was out today, was out on Table Rock on Saturday morning. But bite's been good. Bite is definitely changing. We're really starting to see the summer bite turn on. As far as our lake level, we're at 916.91, puts us about 1/10 of a foot below normal pool right now, below normal summer pool. That's really just because they're releasing a lot more water out of Beaver and getting it back to normal. Haven't really had any substantial rain. I mean, there's a chance of rain every day today, but it's going to be these little pop-up showers, so I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of water coming into the lake this next week. Water temperature is a bigger story. Fished up the James today, and pretty much everywhere I went, I saw 80-degree water. Even starting first thing in the morning, it was like 79.5, 80, got off the water about noon, it was 80.5. So definitely got some warm water. We're definitely beginning to see these fish move into a summertime pattern. Best way to know what's going on, best way to stay in touch what's happening in on Table Rock Lake is to use your Table Rock Fishing Intel Pro membership. Get those daily reports, weekly reports, all the information that we put out there on a daily basis to help you catch more fish on Table Rock Lake. Again, I'm going to ask if you guys have a friend or family member who fishes Table Rock. I'd ask that you see if they want to sign up for it as well, because the more support we get, the more we can do videos, the more things we can do to help you catch more fish on Table Rock. But if you're going to come down, fish the lower end of the lake, there's really only a couple of bites working on the lower end. Right off the bat, first thing in the morning, you can catch them on top water. I can tell you that the popper bite has been much stronger than anything else. I can still catch a few on a spook, on a vixen, on a Sammy, more the walking baits, sexy dog, whatever you like to throw. But it really seems like that popper bite, where you can keep the bait in front of a fish for a longer period of time, has been a lot more effective than the walking baits. And really, I've not had any bites on a wake bait in probably a week. So that's my first bite. As the day wears on, I am out there drop shotting. Most of the fish are coming on gravel points, main lake, anywhere from about 22 to about 32 feet deep. And you got to search for them. They're pretty scattered. Occasionally, if there's a school of shad out there, you'll find them grouped up. But right now, they haven't all moved out. They haven't all, they're not all out there yet, but there are quite a few Kentuckys that have moved out and are on those deeper gravel points, those deeper gravel runouts right before it rolls off. Out there in that 25 to 35 foot range, or 22 to 32 foot range to be more precise, really seems to be where those fish are. Come up in the mid-lake. Mid-lake, you've got a few more options. You definitely want to have a topwater tied on, spook, Sammy, vixen, popper. Again, the popper seems to be a lot stronger. Most of those fish are coming around schools of shad that are spawning on the bank, especially around bushes, or spawning around boat docks. We've still got, it's like the longest shad spawn in the history of Table Rock. We've still got fish or shad that have been doing a little bit of spawning up shallow, up on the rocks, up on the docks. Seems like the better fish I'm catching are on those bigger docks, and I'm not talking about the commercial docks at the marinas. I had a couple of guys send me messages saying I wasn't allowed to fish them. That's not what I'm fishing. I'm fishing community docks, I'm fishing condo docks, I'm fishing that sort of thing. If it's got a red sign on it, we don't fish it. But we're fishing those community docks and those condo docks with a top water early. Can catch fish around those docks as well with a drop shot, dropping it around the cables or dropping it into the slips where you've got a little bit of shade, or on the ends of the docks where you've got a little bit of shade. That bite's been working. Still catching a few on a Kitech swim bait, 2.8, but it's very specific. I've got to have some sort of cover to throw to, whether it be a brush pile, some standing timber, or even a dock cable. The fish are definitely holding on some sort of cover rather than just out there on a gravel flat chasing shad. Now, if they are chasing shad, you certainly throw a swim bait at them, but most of the fish I've caught on the swim bait in the last week have been around some sort of cover, either a brush pile or a standing timber or a dock cable, or even the corner of a dock. Those sort of areas have been good. The dragging bite has been good, but it's been a little hit and miss. Have been catching them on a jewel squirrel head, have been catching them on a jewel spider jig, on a tube, and on a Ned rig. But it's really, one day I'll catch them in an area, the next day I won't. So it's kind of sporadic. The best thing I can tell you is most of the fish have been on points. They've not really been in the pockets. So some of them on main lake points, some of them on secondary points. Most of them have been a little bit deeper. They've been in that 15 to 20 foot range versus last week we're in that 10 to 15. They're really starting to back out. You got a little bit of color in the water right where the James comes in. So they are a little bit shallower there, like around Joe Bulb. But for the most part, it's in that 15 to 20 foot range. Dragging those baits on the bottom has been the best thing in the Kimberling City area. Go up into the James where I was today. We threw a top water first thing this morning. Caught them pretty good on top. I think we had 6 or 8, including a 4-pounder, all on a popper. Can catch them on a spook, can catch them on a vixen, can catch them on a Sammy or sexy dog, whatever you like as well. But it does seem like that popper bite is a lot better. And of course the topwater bite's going to be better whenever you've got shad that are spawning around there. So keep that in mind as well. Then we switched up, started dragging. We caught a few dragging. Most of them were on a squirrel head or a tube. Guess we did have a couple on a Ned as well. Most of those fish being up the James, I was up around point 12. Most of those fish were on gravel and rock mix points, and they were a little bit shallower up the James. The James has got pretty good color up around point 12, so we were catching them in that 8 to about 15 foot range, keeping the boat around 20, throwing up and catching them that way. Yeah, color-wise, as long as it's green pumpkin, you're fine. That seems to be the only color that really seems to matter to me up there. Did not throw a Carolina rig up there, but I know a bunch of guys have been catching them on a Carolina rig up there as well, using either a lizard or a brush hog or a creature bait like a beaver or a French fry. Those are the baits they've been throwing on there, mostly green pumpkin, mostly on those gravel points, but out a little bit deeper. Keeping the boat at about 25 and throwing up there to about 10 and working it out deeper, working it out slow along the bottom. Carolina rig bite has been good up there. And then the worm bite's starting to turn on. A Texas rig worm. Not really throwing the big 10 to 12 inch worms. We're more throwing like an 8-inch sickle tail worm has been probably our best bait up there in those brush piles, but you got to work it through the brush slow. Kind of lift it over a limb and let it fall, lift it over a limb and let it fall. Seems like most of the brush I'm catching them out of are 10 to 15 foot deep. I've not really caught a lot any deeper than that or any shallower than that. But you do definitely have a good Texas rig worm bite going on up the James right now, and that should only get better, and we'll probably transition to that big worm, might be by this weekend with how warm the water is. I don't see the water cooling off at all anytime soon. Go up the White River, of course, top water. Popper's been best, but we are catching them on a spook, a vixen, sexy dog, Sammy, any of those baits. Those baits are working as well. Same sort of locations, excuse me, anywhere you've got shad spawning, so they can be right up on the bank. The water's up a little bit now, guys, from what it has been, 2 feet from what it was even a couple of weeks ago, so there are some bushes in the water. So you can take advantage of that early in the day if those shad are up there spawning, and the fish will be right up there either in the bushes or just outside of the bushes. So keep that in mind, or on the bigger docks, on the bigger community docks up there. Again, not the commercial docks, the community docks. Look for those shad spawning around them. And even if you don't see shad spawning around those docks, there will be fish hiding underneath the corners of those docks. So throw your top water around there as well. Swim bait bite's been pretty good up there too. But just like everywhere else, I'm throwing at specific targets, brush piles, standing timber, dock cables, that sort of thing. Most of the fish are in that 10 to 12 foot range, suspended, either in or just on top of the brush or just on top of a tree. So keep that in mind. That bite's working. Drop shot bite is working up there as well. I did shot some trees in a creek and on a bluff end towards the end of the week last week using a shed shape and a cut tail. And I think we used a chomper's drop shot worm as well and plum. And we did catch quite a few out of the tops of the trees, around 20 to 25 foot deep over whatever depth. I don't even remember. I think it was probably 80 feet deep on that bluff end and probably 50 feet deep on the or back in the creek. So you can certainly catch some fish doing that. And then once you get up the creek a little ways, the dragon bite, or up the river a little ways, the dragon bite is still good up there with a squirrel head, Ned rig, tube, jewel pearl spider jig, All those bites are working up there as well, so keep that in mind. Gravel and rock mix points, mostly main lake, some on the secondaries, but mostly main lake. 10 to 15 foot deep seems to be the key, so keep your boat in 20 to 25 and throw up and catch them that way. Flip and bite, to be honest with you, I really want to go flipping, especially up the Kings, but I have not had the opportunity to go flipping. So I imagine with the extra water getting up into the bushes and getting up into that wood trash in the pockets and that, you can probably start catching them flipping either a jig or a worm or a shaky head in a lot of that trash and in and around those bushes. So if you're going up the Kings, I'd keep that in mind. Guys, we're done with May. Silly weekend over the weekend. I can tell you the boat traffic was not great today. I think we're gonna have a lot of boat traffic this summer, so it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. But the bite's been good. It's definitely changing. We're sliding into that summertime bite, and you know, if you don't make that adjustment, you're gonna struggle. And I really think our dragging bite is, with the exception of the big worm and stuff like that, I really think the dragon bite, unless you're up the river, is going to get a lot tougher, and it's going to transition into that drop shot bite that we always have every summer. Best way to know, best way to stay on top of it is use your Table Rock Fishing Intel Pro membership and get all the reports, daily reports, weekly reports, all that information. Share that with your friends. You know, get some of your friends and family to join Table Rock Fishing Intel as well. We really appreciate that. But if you're coming down, want to hire a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743 or hit my website, focusfishing.com, book online, or shoot me an email. Either way, I get back to you as soon as I can. Guys, thanks for being Intel Pro members. Thanks for watching the video. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.